Good morning and happy Monday and happy morning. I'm SharRon Jamison and I am the CEO and founder of the Jamison Group. And first, happy Memorial Day. I hope that everybody is resting and waiting to have a great day today. Thanks, Marvin Fisher, for joining me. Well, today I wanted to share a little snippet from my new book because I think it's a question that we all ask ourselves. And the question is, when is it time to make a move in our lives? When is it time to make a move in our lives? And oftentimes, if we don't are not able to discern when to move and when to shift and when to pivot, when to evolve, when to grow, we risk losing important opportunities. We risk losing momentum. We risk losing the ability to be more, to say more, to do more, when we are not able to discern when it's time to move in our life. And so today I want to share 4 ways to help you identify. Hey, Michelle and V. Chanel. Thank you for joining me too. Appreciate that. What are the 4 times for you to consider when it's a time to make a shift, to make a pivot in your life so that you don't miss out and miss taking advantage of opportunities to move you forward? So the first time to consider when it's time to make a move in your life is when there is a change in your mindset. Hey, Pastor Rose, when there is a change in your mindset. And our mindset are our collection of our attitudes, our thoughts, it's how we navigate in the world. Our mindset is how we perceive the world. It impacts how we move, how we navigate, because our mindset influences and informs the decisions that we make in our life. So our mindsets are really important. Hey, Yvonne, the challenge is that when we have a new mindset, we can't stay in an old place. Because when we stay in an old place, we minimize and lose the opportunity to allow that mindset to change the trajectory of our lives. It's always important to remember that when we have a new mindset, for example, we're no longer doing drugs, we can't stay around drug addicts. Or when we have a new mindset of abundance, we can't stay around people who have a scarcity mindset. Or when we have a new perspective on growth, we can't stay around people who are stagnant and stale. Or if we have a mindset of changing how we impact and function in the world, we can't not succumb to people who are not of the same mindset. So it's so important to remember when we have a shifting, a change in our mindset, we have to move, because if not, we will forfeit opportunities, we will abort our missions, and we will lose momentum. So we always have to remember when there's a shift in our mindset, we have to move, because you can't take a new mind in an old situation. And if we don't move, we will forfeit our dreams, forfeit our advancement, and that's something that we never want to do. So if there's a shift, you got to move. You can't have a big dream in a myopic place. You can't have a new revelation with old relationships. You got to make a move. Hey there, April. Hey there, Lucky. The second time we have to make sure that we move when there is a shifting in the atmosphere, shifting in our spirit. It was when we are blessed with new opportunities, new opportunities. Now, the challenge is many times when there are new opportunities, if we fail to exploit them, if we fail to capitalize them, we miss the boat. What we have to remember is that opportunities have expiration dates. And just because an opportunity is there for you now does not mean that it will exist forever. Remember, opportunities have expiration dates, and we have to seize the moment. We have to go for it, lest we move and lose the opportunity to be our best selves. Oh, thanks so much for sharing, for those who are sharing. Now, there are 3 reasons I want you to think about why people don't take opportunities. One is that people don't want to leave their comfort zone. People want to stay what they're doing. They don't want to do anything that's new, that's different. But anytime we stay in our comfort zone, we forfeit the right to advance. We forfeit a right to move forward in our lives. So we got to be careful that we don't stay in our comfort zone and we choose security over success. or we choose security over significance. We got to make a move. The second reason why people don't take opportunities is because they want to stay compliant. Let me tell you, if you're going to stay compliant to the status quo, you will never move and be significant in your own life. We got to be careful that we don't succumb to tribalism, that we don't succumb to traditionalism, that we don't succumb to conventionalism, because anybody who made a significant impact in the world did not follow the rules. We got to be careful that we don't die and get suffocated by the status quo, that we fail to take our divine place in society. Hey, Dr. Talisha. So we got to be careful. Hey, Marcia. We got to be careful that we don't allow the status quo to suffocate us, and that we need to make sure that we don't draw and stay within the lines of convention, because a convention will kill us. At any time somebody does something significant, it's because they went outside the status quo. Every inventor, every change agent, every influencer stayed outside of convention. They were not compliant. So we got to make sure that we push beyond our compliance zones. The third thing that why people don't take opportunities is because they want convenience. I am shocked when I deal with many of my clients. Some clients want to be successful and travel the world, but they don't want to walk across the street. We got to remember that opportunities are not convenient. They're not going to come on and knock you on the door and like, hey, I'm an opportunity, take me. If we're not willing to do something that we've never done before, even if it means that it becomes inconvenient for us, we will miss our opportunities. So again, people don't take opportunities, one, because they want to stay in their comfort zone, they want to stay in a compliant zone, and they want to stay in a convenient zone. And all those zones will fail to allow you to be all that God will have you to be, and will fail to allow you to walk in your divine calling. Now, some of the saddest things you want to see is people who miss the boat, because again, opportunities have expiration dates. Now, a couple of things happen when people miss opportunities, and I want you to be able to identify these three things in others, but also identify those three things in you. First, people who miss opportunities become resentful and they become haters. Now, they really are mad because they didn't have the courage, nor the discipline, nor the initiative to do what God has told them to do. So as a result, they're mad. They become haters, and they will compete with you. They will conspire against you, and they will do anything to prevent you from doing what they are not willing to do. So people, they become resentful and they become haters. Our people who don't take opportunities become rebellious, and they're just fighting. Now, the person who they really want to fight is themselves. They really want to fight themselves because they know that they are the ones who contributed to their own crisis. They understand that they are the ones who contributed to their own calamity. So many times, instead of, since they can't fight themselves, guess what? They can't point the finger at you. They at themselves, they start pointing the finger at you. Hey, Marcia and Kevin. So we got to make sure that we identify people who miss opportunities because they come rebellious and they will fight you. And they're really mad at themselves, but however, they're taking out on you. The third thing that happens when people fail to take advantage of opportunities is they become regretful. And they live in the land of coulda, shoulda, woulda. They live in the land of constant lamentation because they didn't do what they should have done when they wanted to do it. So they miss opportunities and they become regretful, and regretful people become helpless. Regretful people become hopeless. Regretful people become powerless. So we got to make sure that we don't miss our opportunities. And when there's an opportunity for us to move forward in our lives, remember, if you fail to capitalize on the opportunities, you will become resentful and bitter. You will become regretful and rebellious, and you will become regretful and hopeless, or you become rebellious. So we got to make sure that we recognize that we got to move forward and take advantage of the opportunities, because you can't wait when the opportunity comes. You have to seize the moment. You got to exploit the opportunity lest you miss the boat. And it's nothing worse than seeing a person who has missed the boat and they become resentful, rebellious, and regretful. The third thing we have to think about when it's a time to move, we have to always think about it's time to move when we see a vision. Now, a vision is a gift from God. And a vision helps us see, not just now, but helps us see beyond what we can see. Vision is something that you see, is something that you sense. And many times when we have visions, we have to remember that God gave you the vision, and God does not give the vision to the committee. So if it's your vision, not television, that means it's for you. Now the challenge is that when there's a vision and we don't execute, many times there's a couple of reasons why. One of the reasons why we don't execute our vision is because we want to see everything. But let me tell you, when God gives a vision, God gives you the gamut unless you see everything, or God gives you a glimpse and gives you a little thing. But irrespective of God gives you a gamut or a glimpse, you got to go. Because when you are willing to be a vessel and God uses you for a vision, it's a gift that you have to execute. You have to implement. You have to apply, or you will lose the opportunity to be a vessel. Because God's will is going to be done. Now, if you want to be used, you got to be faithful and do it, lest you miss the opportunity to move forward. Now, there are a couple of reasons why we fail to walk in our vision. One is fear. We feel we want to see everything. We want to know everything. But like I said before, God gives you the gamut sometimes, and sometimes God gives you a glimpse. But despite, you got to go. Now, the thing that we have to remember, that visions are faith walks. So you're not going to see it all. You're going to see in part. But you have to remember that when God gives you vision, God will give provision. God will not give you ability, a vision, if you didn't have ability to implement it. So it's something that we have to consider when we see something, when God puts something on our spirit, even if we see the gamut or a glimpse, we got to move, we got to go, and we got to trust that we will be provided for, because for every gap in your life, God will send you the right group. And for every need, God will send you a name. And for every issue, God will send you an individual. For every message, God will send you a messenger. And we have to remember that whatever we need, God will provide, if it is a vision from God and not a vision from our own ego. And that's when we have to be discerning, right? We have to be discerning. But when you have a vision, you got to move, and you got to move, lest you miss the opportunity to take a significant role in a leadership role, not only in your life, but also in the life of others. Thanks so much for joining me, Priscilla and Annie. The fourth way that we know it's time to make a move is when we have been equipped to do it. Now, this is a challenge, because many times we are equipped to do more, but we won't take advantage of it. I think that many times we work at the 30 or 40% max of our divine capacity, right? Because we don't want to do more, be more. Now, why is that? I want to just give you two reasons. In my programs, my coaching programs, I talk about a lot of the reasons why, but I want to give you two today. One is that we won't use our full potential, exercise our full capacity. One is because we feel inadequate and we feel insecure. So as a result, we would rather be a big old whale in a little fish bowl versus a whale in the ocean. We rather be a big person in the pond, because we don't trust that we are really adequate to do what we need to do. We don't trust our skills. We don't trust our abilities. We don't trust our worth. So as a result, we play small. We stay in places that are too small for our big talent. We stay in with people who are too small for our big dreams. We stay in organizations that are too narrow for our large vision, because we won't take a step, because we feel inadequate. So the first thing is inadequate. The second reason why we won't work to our potential when we are equipped is because of isolation. The truth is, sometimes success is lonely. It's lonely, because many times people don't understand what you're doing. People have no concept what you're doing. And sometimes people don't have the capacity to really understand your dream, your vision. People don't have the imagination to see how you are functioning in the world, or what God has placed on your heart. So oftentimes, even though we are equipped to do more, we won't do more. I'm going to give you an example. Many times we have the capacity to drive a plane, but instead of driving a plane, we riding on a tricycle because we feel inadequate. Or many times we have, I'll give you a sports analogy. We have the capacity to play in the NBA, but we want to play at the YMCA because we don't trust our ability. Sometimes we have the ability to be in college, but we don't trust our ability, so we're staying in kindergarten with our skills. So I want to encourage you and exhort you to don't play small in your life. When you have been equipped, it's time to go to a different level. When you know more, you can do more. Don't stay in small places when you have big talent and then you get upset because you're not experiencing the success that you are capable of experiencing. You got to move. When you are equipped to do more, you got to do more. Make sure you stay in places that are commensurate with your ability. You don't have to dumb down yourself to be accepted. And anytime we have to minimize who we are to be accepted, we are walking around in the wrong group. People who are close to you should want to encourage you and provoke you really to be all that you need to be. Hey, Carsini and Dr. Talisha. So be mindful. Don't miss the boat because when you are equipped to do more, but you choose not to do more because you feel insecure, you feel inadequate, and you fear isolation. The truth is everybody can't go up to the 8th floor with you, the penthouse. Some people will start with you. Some will get off at the 2nd floor. Some will get off at the 5th floor. Some people won't go to the penthouse. You got to be okay with that. Remember, God gave you the vision. So that means that everybody can't come. And I'm not saying that make people disposable. I'm saying that you might need to reposition people in your life based on what God has told you to do and what you have been required to do. So I want us to remember there are 4 times to move, and you got to move lest you abort your mission, lest you miss your opportunity. You have to move lest you fail to make the advancements. You got to move. Again, how do you need to move? When you have a changed mindset. A new mind cannot stay in an old place. At any time when your beliefs and your behaviors don't align, you're not living in integrity, emotionally, spiritually, intellectual integrity. And anytime we're not living in integrity, we are living a fragmented existence. And fragmented people are fragile, they are frauds, and they're fickle. So you want to make sure you don't hang out with fragile, fickle people and that you live in integrity by making sure that your beliefs and your behaviors are congruent, are in alignment. So you have a changed mind. When you got to move. Remember, if you move your mental location, you also have to move your emotional, spiritual, intellectual, and financial location because you can't have a new mind and thrive in an old place. So that's a mindset. Again, you have to move when you have new opportunities. Opportunities come with expiration dates. Thank you, Tiffany, for joining me. Opportunities come with expiration dates. And as my pastor talked about yesterday, don't miss the boat. The door of opportunity, the window of opportunity will not stay open to meet your needs. So don't allow your comfort zone, your compliance zone, don't allow your convenience zone to preclude you from your own success. Because if you do, as I mentioned before, you will live in regret and be pitiful. You will live in rebellion and you will be pathetic, or you will live in resentment and you will be a hater. And none of us want to do that. So you got to move and take advantage of the opportunity. Again, you got to move when you have a new vision. When God gives you a new revelation, you can't take a new revelation in an old place. You can't take a new way of thinking in a stagnant place. Remember, if you don't move, you will become stale and stagnant and shallow your own self. Always remember that God gives you a vision. God will send provision. Sometimes you get to see the gamut. Sometimes you got to see a glimpse, but you got to go, lest you forfeit your opportunities, and never allow your own sense of inadequacy to preclude you from moving forward. God gave you a vision. God will give you provision. You got to trust. You got to trust that when you have a need, God will send you a name. When there's a gap, God will send you the right group, but you got to stand up. You cannot walk in your vision from a seated position, emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually. You got to stand up and give your best. And finally, again, it's time to move when you are more equipped to do more. When you are equipped to do more and you don't do more, you really are betraying your own self. You are not only betraying your gift, you're betraying your God, because God gave you a gift to do more. So when you can do more, hey, Danielle, you need to do more, be more, say more. You need to expand and enrich your life because you have a job to do. So I want to encourage you, when you are equipped, do more. Don't stay small. Don't become a big fish in a little pond because you feel inadequate. Don't fear staying in a small place because you're going to miss your friends. Listen, to go up, you got to give up. And sometimes the things you give up are relationships. Not that, again, that people are disposable. Some people just got to be repositioned. The people who are walking with you have to be your starting five, to use another basketball analogy. Some people are bench players. That's fine, but you have to know what you want to do. So I hope this helps. I always want you to think about, when is it time to make a move in your life, lest you miss opportunities, lest you forfeit momentum, you forfeit your dreams. If you want to advance, you got to be really willing to go. And you got to remember, when it's time to move, everybody doesn't get a vote and everybody doesn't get a voice. You do not run your life by committee. When God, you got to follow your own conscience and not the crowd. You got to follow your own heart and not the herd. You got to follow your own truth and not the tradition. You got to follow your own mind and not the masses. So again, I want to point out, when you move, hey, Tanya, Dr. Lowe, again, you got to move up. You got to move up in conscience. So you got to, since you know more, you got to move up in courage. Because when you have to be able to stand in your power, even if it means you must stand alone. Because remember, you don't run your life by committee, and you got to move up into your commitment. When it gets tough, you got to stick and stay. Second thing, not only do you have to move up, you got to move over. You got to move over obstacles. You got to move over opposition. You got to move over obstinate people, because you will endure some haters. Every new level has a new devil, and be careful. Just because somebody is close to you does not mean they don't covet. Because sometimes the most jealous people are the ones who are walking side by side with you, and they're hating on you and you're not realizing it. Remember, just because they are close does not mean they don't covet. So you got to move over. Not only you got to move in, you got to move in circles that teach you and motivate you and enrich you and expose you. You got to move in environments that will nurture you, because your environment is what makes you wither. Our environment is what makes you bloom. You got to move away from the naysayers and the dream slayers. Remember, some people don't have the capacity to understand your dream. They don't have the capacity to understand all of who you are. They don't have the capacity to walk with you. And that's okay. It's no hateration, no judgment, but you got to know better. And then you have to move around. You got to move around people who are purposeful, who are emotionally, spiritually profitable and productive, so that you don't succumb to laziness yourself. Again, you got to move up, you got to move over, you got to move in, you got to move away, and you got to move among the gifted. You got to move among the talented. You got to move among the progressive. You got to move among people who are willing to take risks. You got to move around risk takers. You got to move around dream takers. You got to move. So I just hope this helps. I want to encourage you to move. And as I'm talking to you, remember, I'm talking to myself, because I'm not moving in places where I should be moving. And I want to encourage you to don't get stuck, because stuck is really a state of mind, and really you have the ability to unstick yourself when you're willing to make decisions that support you, that sustain you, that satisfy you. And at the end of the day, always remember, you got to satisfy yourself. You have to embark. You have to move. You have to take action. You have to accelerate. You have to advocate. You have to activate. You got to do something when it's time to move. Don't miss the boat. So I hope that you would join me this summer. In the end of June, I'm going to be talking more about this need to make moves and changes in our lives in the Soar to Summer program. I hope you would join me. It's a 4-week online program. We're going to talk about strategy because many times we suffer because we won't implement strategy, and then we have analysis paralysis, and then we find ourselves in the same stagnant, shallow, stale, superficial places without activation and moving forward. So hope you would think about and consider the Soar in the Summer program. If you're not in the Dare to Soar higher Facebook group, please let me know that. I will put the link. Please join me. I always do different types of trainings there, and I would love for you to not only share with me, but share with everybody, because we only are our best selves in community. We're never our best selves by ourselves. So I hope you have a great Monday. Get ready to move. You got a new mindset. You have a new opportunity. You have a new vision. You are equipped. Go for it. Go for it. Don't succumb to mediocrity. Don't succumb to average. Don't succumb to the straitjackets of the status quo. Why? Because you got a job to do and you have a God to glorify. Thanks so much for joining me, Eva and Nikki and Tiffany and Dr. Lowe. Thank you so much, Lisa and Lisa Evans and Angela, for sharing. Hope you have a great Memorial Day, and move, get going. Don't get stagnant. You got a job to do. Thanks again, and blessings to all of you always, and hope that you will join me in the Dare to Soar Higher coaching program, and hope you join me for 4 weeks during the summer. Blessings. Bye.